Holy cow, man! What am I doing? You know, it's like
to the microchip, because then at least we've got a bit of a chance.
I'm still trying to finish this David Icke thing, and it's only
United
3
Nations,
hours.
Symbol came out
We're still out about an hour and a half.
Also, the United Nations was
created
to be a focus for the centralization of global power, like that world government on that earlier slide. The sections in that target type symbol of the United Nations, there's 33, just happens to be 33 degrees of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And it's kind of nicely framed, isn't it, with those leaves? I wonder
you really ought to smell some of this stuff,
because it's a Freemasonic symbol. Again,
you know, in a way, my commentary.
These symbols of these various levels of control. The United
I must be drunk because I think it's better than David Icke's presentation.
Now this. I guess of everything I've said so far, this next few minutes
he's kind of making some pretty outrageous claims.
The most powerful means of
for all the things I say, I'm not that outrageous.
Years, and we're still falling for it. And it is this more than anything that's advanced this agenda to centralization of global power. I call it.
You know, that's a real practical, drinking, thinking thing to say.
You want to bring something in here. Centralization of power, more
defending
power for the police,
myself,
more security agencies, whatever.
You know, but
and you know that if you do it openly and
I love
honestly,
David Icke. I'd defend him in a minute.
This is a global fascist state. Go away.
I do defend him, but I don't agree with him.
That's what you're going to get if you do it openly.
I agree with some of the things he talks about. You know, because he shows how the world gets it over on people
so there
and
is more
stuff.
crime. So people get in fear of being mugged and
I'm
being
just not saying there's a superior other alien or something.
Whatever.
You know,
and you create
they use us.
You get someone else to be
we
blamed
are
for
the
it. You get
genius.
Oswald. You get,
they're not
these
the
paxes,
genius.
as they
We
call
are
them in America, who are blamed for
it
events
pisses me
that
off.
they weren't involved in. You then get the people in general by the way that you report your problem.
I'm not racist.
By demanding
other than I'm a human racist. I believe in our race above an alien race.
Covertly created the problem.
They superior to us here on our home where we were created, and we didn't come from Mars or some other place.
Benefited from the Oklahoma bomb.
Why complicate the story and add more dimensions when it's hard enough to perceive the dimensions that we already come from? How's that for some drinking thinking? Huh?
Even further in America.
Deal with that.
Anti-terrorism
ought to be able to leave you guys alone
took away basic freedoms from America
for a few months, go camping, and come back and see if anybody caught on to anything. How's that for drinking
fertilizer
thinking?
device that the Ryder truck could not possibly have done that damage. It had to be done by high-tech devices on some of the pillars inside the building.
I love cigarettes, man. I thank God for tobacco.
Advancing this agenda and getting the population to demand
really
you do it,
shame,
even though the agenda exists. And the Second World War, like the First World War,
it's so demonized.
As I've shown in
my when I looked in the effects of tobacco, one of the things that it said that the effect was delirium.
Funding all sides.
Okay, like delirious.
Control of the leaders
only
of all
delirium.
Sides. I just played them off against each other to create a war, a problem, which then had a solution.
You waver away off of the role that you hold. You're not going in line with everybody else.
The Nazis were funded from Wall Street and London through the Bank of England
and through the German
subsidiaries of American and British multinational corporations, not least the Rockefeller Standard Oil.
And when you got such a shitty world, it's worth delirium, getting drunk,
Joseph Stalin,
and wavering
Russia
from the standard of the system. Does that make sense? How was that for the drinking, thinking? I love you all, man. You know, and I'm not going to be showing up drunk
in America,
on no regular basis.
The 20th century for this brotherhood, Franklin Delano Roosevelt comes from the elite aristocratic.
Just want to shame the wise a little bit.
In Germany, you had Adolf Hitler, who was put in there.
My spit's all tacky and stuff because of the chemtrails. You notice that?
The Vril Society,
oh, you go spit stuff out.
Global Brotherhood.
after the chemtrails.
And they were funded
and it's
by
all
American
real
loans
tacky,
in the way
real
that I just
super
talked about.
tacky.
So you create two sides.
Have you noticed that?
Incidentally,
How
again,
drunk
sun
is
cycles,
that?
numerology, certain years, certain things
Takes
happen.
a drunk
You look
to
at 1933.
admit it. Because we don't want to admit it. We don't want to admit to these symptoms and effects that have been happening to us. Got to get drunk like me right now to even admit that stuff because it's so fucking ridiculous.
All by design, and then you get two sides, and
but
you
the hell with them.
Each other in a war.
They're murderers. They're liars. They're thieves.
In such a few years, the human race was mentally, physically, emotionally, and mentally white.
Put a little effort into it when you go exhausted. To spit it out.
And in that
or it'll dribble right down you. It's so tacky.
What did people say?
Tacky world.
Something must be
tacky
done.
bullshit sticks to you.
What do they do about it? The United Nations,
you
European
need
Union,
effort.
Centralization of power that we won't have another.
Got to use some effort. Got to use some of your human ability. Got to have some passion.
That show that the Second World War was planned.
Peace
as the First World War was ending, probably before that.
No.
And if anyone thinks that it's not possible for a few to control the world, you're looking at it. How many people in Britain, America, Germany, Australia, South Africa, France, all these different countries, how many of those people wanted to go to war in the First World War? Hardly any of them. They wanted to make a real effort to
spit that tacky ass shit out.
They were there because the pyramid
it shouldn't be sticking to the roof of our mouth like it is.
The people in this country. The little hierarchy persuaded their population they had to fight this country.
I hope to hear.
And these two hierarchies.
I'm sorry that it's hard to go through all these videos of a drunk, but it is more worth
there was a song in the 60s by a guy
a lot of bullshit. Better watch this stuff.
Which went like this.
And fucking where we're at. Television. This commercial free.
And he's 6'4".
No commercials! What more could you ask for?
He's all of 31.
You want it, unless you can't wait to the Super Bowl!
For he's a Catholic, a Hindu, an atheist, a Jain, a Buddhist, and a Baptist, and a Jew.
Slow motion.
And he knows he shouldn't kill, and he knows he always will. Killing for me, my friend, and me for you. And he's fighting for Canada. He's fighting for France.
Talking down
he's fighting
sports.
for the USA.
Shame on me.
And he's fighting for the Russians.
Go
and he's
Detroit
fighting for Japan.
Tigers or Lions or whoever, whatever season.
And he's fighting for democracy. He's fighting for the Reds. He says it's.
I don't even know a single player in
he's
the
one
game.
Who must decide who's to live and who's to die.
And I ain't even against that stuff.
But without him,
I like watching Barry Sanders play.
Without him, Caesar would have stood alone.
What
He's
a
the one who
spirited
gives
individual.
his body as a weapon of the war.
No, I don't even know a single player because I don't watch mainstream TV.
He's the universal soldier, and he really is to blame. His orders come from far away no more.
It's worth it.
They come from here and there, and you and me.
I don't need to have
sisters, can't you see?
Information
to
meet at the drinking fountain, at the cooler,
and that sums up a very simple truth.
What plays
happen the game, there is
during
no game.
the week.
The few can only control the world and manipulate wars if we fall for it.
David Icke
because we fight them, and they start them. And when they've started them,
David Icke
we fought them,
problem, reaction,
recreate
solution.
The world in the image.
Second World War. You know, I claim the Third World War has been going on since the Korean War.
Controlling both sides, conflict, United Nations, European Union.
Explain
in both
myself
world
because
power was in far fewer hands at the end of the war than it was at the start, and that was the reason for the war.
Third World War.
Not a problem, reaction, solution, which I'll talk briefly about.
They already did it.
That is going to be played in the next few years. It would look like maybe even sooner than that.
It's police state. It's police state all over, not just Korea.
These so-called flying saucers have been around for a long time. They're flown by humans.
And everywhere else since Korea.
Been around for a long time. It's a very straightforward technology. But if you, going back to that, knowledge,
you know, and all this
ignorance,
Afghanistan
pyramid at the start.
stuff, now Syria.
If you keep people in ignorance
you
of
know,
what's possible, when they see things
this
flying around
of it is the Third World War.
Don't believe humans can create.
War
Then
continued.
they think extraterrestrial. And there's a scam being played here.
Continued. You want to cry about
while
it?
These extraterrestrial created and connected bloodlines have been running the world and still are all these thousands of years, that we're going to be persuaded that there's some extraterrestrial invasion coming in. And what will that justify? Centralization of global government, global
for the
army,
last
and all
couple
these different
decades,
things.
people felt like we haven't been
really, more and more of these
really at war.
Extraterrestrial stories coming out
But
through
we've
things
had
like X-Files,
Iraq
made
War,
by Fox Television,
Afghanistan
owned by
War.
Rupert Murdoch, which is owned by this Brotherhood. Things like Independence Day, made by 20th
Korean
Century
War,
Fox, owned by Rupert
Vietnam
Murdoch, who is owned by
War.
this Brotherhood. Things like
All
Alien
these
Resurrection,
wars
made by
is
20th
a
Century
string
Fox,
of
owned by
police
Rupert
state
Murdoch, who's owned by
wars.
this Brotherhood, and so on and so forth.
That same police state been trying to kill me over here in Michigan.
So problem, reaction, solution happens on many, many levels. And if we keep reacting,
Seems like
something must be done.
I'm pro marijuana.
This will just go on. We have to ask, I would suggest, a very simple
I don't know
question
why
when
else
these
they'd
things
want to
happen.
kill
Who
me.
benefits? Who benefits from
They
me believing
tried.
what I'm being asked to believe about this event? And if who benefits, and invariably
want
it
info,
does, anyone who wants to centralize power in the world,
you want proof,
we should do a lot of thinking before we jump in and say, do it,
message
do it,
me or comment.
to change the situation.
I'll show it to you. I'll make a video. Nobody's responded.
Problem, reaction, solution is another technique. I call it
love,
the stepping stones technique.
And
James Madison
again,
once said, I believe there are more instances of
I'm
the
out of
abridgment
here.
of the freedom of
Doggone
the people
it.
by gradual and
Why is
silent
this not
encroachments of those in power than by violent
focusing?
and sudden usurpations. And what that is saying in simple terms is if you want to go from here to there, you know if you go in one jump, people are going to go, what's going on? What's going on? So what you do is you do it in little steps.
I guess it don't.
Little steps.
Sorry.
Little step, projecting
I'm out.
totally unconnected
Peace.
to the others, and suddenly you're